Why it's important to invest in real estate?
Number one, it always appreciates. Number two, there's great tax benefits. Number three, cash flow versus, let's just say, stocks and bonds and mutual funds. I don't even know what that means.
When we should start to invest, like at 30 or at 40?
So I'm going to say, Andre, you're already late to the game. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Get Diversified. I am your host, Jacqueline Landry, in case you're tuning in for the first time. I want to welcome you to the show. And I'm going to actually start off before I introduce my very special guest today. I'm going to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about me. So originally from Chicago, currently live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am a mom. I'm an author. I am an investor. I'm a daughter, and the list goes on. I can probably spend 30 minutes on all of the titles that I have to my name. But a little bit about myself. I basically was raised by my mom. My dad died when I was 5 years old. So very grateful for my mom acting as a mom and a dad the majority of my life. I got a degree in accounting, went to school, did the 401k savings, and had the dream of being with one company for my entire career and then retiring at 65. So that's basically how I grew up and what was taught to me. That's what my mom knew. So that's what the teachers taught us. I went with that. So I had a very successful career in accounting and consulting over my years. Then I met my wonderful husband. We've been married for 13 years. We have a son that's 9, turning 10, going on 15. So trying to be very independent and 9 years old. And about 2.5 years ago, my husband asked me to consider quitting my corporate job to join him in real estate. And I said, absolutely, let me do this. Because if we're going to do this right, we need to be all in. And so he was gracious enough to let me retire from corporate America first before he did. So my husband is still working as a supply chain procurement specialist, and he also teaches economics and business strategy on the side. So he does a lot of things, and very gracious and thankful that he let me retire from my job to join him in the real estate arena. The minute I stopped, I got my realtor's license here in Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, and I jumped right into multifamily. And a little background about ourselves. So 2.5 years ago, we really went all in on this, and we went from 0 houses to 44 doors that we currently own as of today, solely owned by ourselves. So anyways, that's just a little bit about my background, but without further ado, I want to introduce Andre. I can't pronounce his last name because I would just butcher it. So Andre, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Jacqueline. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak with you, and I hope this episode will be completely different from your previous episodes on your show. Yeah, let's just create some great things together.
Awesome. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm 22 years old, and I'm living in Dubai, and I'm running my own video agency and marketing agency at the same time. It's called KMG. We do marketing for different types of companies, like real estate, medical companies, and actually more and more. We focus on the US companies and on Europe companies as well. We do social media, email marketing, and we help entrepreneurs attract more leads and more opportunities to their pipeline. Yeah, just increasing the opportunities and increase the awareness of their brands, create some cool content. And yeah, here's it.
Fantastic. So we're going to do something a little bit different here today than we normally do on our podcast. So I'm usually the one that asks our guests to speak the majority of the time, but I'm actually going to have Andre run with this show and ask me questions because he's a curious 22-year-old that's interested about real estate. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Andre. I'm going to be the good guest that just answers your question and shares all the knowledge that I know about real estate to you and all of our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I think this episode will be a bit different compared to your previous episodes on your show. And I think the goal of this episode is telling people more about real estate investments, why it's important, why it could be why we should invest actually in real estate, outline others things we can invest actually. Yeah, I'm really curious because I'm the person who know zero about real estate investing. I want to know more about real estate investing. I have capacity and I want to try to invest actually in real estate. And I believe it will be a podcast, a conversation or interview. I don't know. We will see it, but I think it will be a great conversation about real estate, specifically like real estate investments, why it's important. And yeah, let's just dive in and start this conversation.
All right, I'm excited. Let's go, Andre.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think like why it's important to invest in real estate, like just in general. Yeah, could you like, let's start just with this question. Would love to hear from you.
Sure. Number one, when you have a job, your job holds your destiny. If your job fires you today, what do you have? You have no more paychecks coming in.
Absolutely.
So by investing, you have an alternative stream of income coming in, even if you decide to continue running your business or continue working your W-2. You always need to have a second source of income in case something happens to that W-2 job or something happens to your business. So I definitely recommend for everybody out there, even if they're satisfied with their W-2 job, think about an alternative stream of income, rather it be real estate or something else. We particularly love real estate because we love the cash that it brings in. So at the end of the day, multiple streams of income is the key to success and to growing wealth.
Okay, and you mentioned like you really love like real estate, but out of all of different options, why someone like should invest into real estate actually? Why real estate?
I love that question, Andre. So why do I love real estate versus, let's just say, stocks and bonds and mutual funds? I don't even know what that means. I can't hold a stock and bond. I don't have control over the stocks and bonds. There's not a piece of paper that says that I own a stock and bond. So what I love about real estate is I can point over here, point over there and say, Andre, I'm the owner of that building. I can feel it. I can touch it. I can control it.
Wow.
I can control the tenants that I put in. I can somewhat control the rents. I can control my expenses to some degree. We obviously have controllable and non-controllable expenses, but for the most part, I can actually control my destiny. I can control what I buy, who I have as tenants in my units, my rents. I actually even can control how long I hold on to the asset. Do I want to hold on for 3 months? Do I want to hold on it for 5 years? Do I want to hold on to it for 10 years? So I love real estate because you can actually feel it, you can touch it, and you can control it. And then the other big thing is, when was the last time that your rent decreased? I don't think I know anybody out of all the people that I know that says, oh yeah, I rent this apartment and guess what? My rent went down last month. That never exists. And because mostly if it appreciates slowly or very rapidly, real estate always appreciates. So those are the reasons that I love real estate, is they always appreciate and they're physically tangible. And you can say, I own this and I own that.
Let's just summarize it up. Like, what's the exact things sets real estate apart from other options like stocks or like crypto? Yeah, let's summarize up for our audience. Yeah.
So to summarize why real estate, number one, it always appreciates most of the time. Number two, there's great tax benefits. Number three, cash flow.
Okay.
So those are my 3 top reasons why to invest in real estate.
Yeah, I think that's great. When people should start actually invest? Because someone like, for example, for now, I'm not investor right now. And maybe I would love to be. Yeah, I bought some crypto like in the past, but it was really weird experience and I'm not sure about it. But maybe you can clarify for me, like when we person, like for example, I'm 22, when we should start to invest, like at 30 or at 40 or like at 22 or whatever. Maybe you have the answer for this question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to say, Andre, you're already late to the game.
Oh, wow.
So our son, as I mentioned before, he's 9 years old and he will passively invest in a building this year.
Wow. How?
Well, it would be funded by his parents, of course. So in order to invest, you need to have some money saved. If you want to passively invest in a deal, passively just means that you're giving somebody else the money and somebody else runs and operates the business. But if you want to do that, you need to have money to invest. So in our instances, we're going to give our son some money, probably $25,000, and he will passively invest it in a building. I think why I want to get him investing at a young age is to know that no matter what he wants to do in life, and by the way, he wants to be a pilot, and he can be a pilot. But what did I say in the very beginning? Second source of income. So now if he wants to work 1 day a week, 7 days a week, 2 days a week, he has the option to be able to do that because he has income coming in from these passive investments. So I would say as early as you can, if your parents have the means to be able to help you invest as a young kid. And then as your kid starts getting older, teach them the value of money and teach them that they need to save. And then once you have a bulk of money saved, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, you can actually take that and put that in an investment like real estate versus stocks and bonds. And the reason I think we kind of talked about before that we like real estate is you can touch it, you can feel it. Stocks and bonds, up and down.
Absolutely agree.
And Jackie can't control that, but I can control a lot of things about what happens in real estate. So I would say, Andre, you're a little bit late to the game at 22, but it's never too late to get into real estate. So myself, I got into real estate just 2.5 years ago, and I'm almost double your age. You know, it's never too late to get started and to think about your future, not only your future, but the future and the legacy that you leave behind. So the future of your kids, Andre. So maybe you won't have the means to start investing, you know, for 10 or 15 years. But when you do, think about the rest of your life that you're here on this earth, as well as the legacy that you're going to leave behind for your kids and so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for this answer. And like, how did you actually teach Melvin about real estate? Like, for example, I don't know, like, where should I get this information? Like, should I watch YouTube videos or I don't know, like, because you mentioned some terms I didn't know at all, like passive investing or active investments opportunities. Like, I believe I got the idea about it, but not sure for 100%. And if you can clarify it for me, I would love to hear your answer here.
So obviously the way that you speak to a 9-year-old is different than the way I would explain it to you. So what we do in our household is I have some flashcards, and I'm actually going to show them here. You see what this says? Capital gain.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
It actually has the way to pronounce it because a 9-year-old may not know what that means. So what we do is we take, you know, some of these cards each week and we actually go through it together and I explain it in a way that he can understand. So as an example, this week we're talking about capital gains. What does that mean? And actually our son just did a reel and it's actually on Facebook about what a capital gain is and how it can be taxed.
Wow.
At 9 years old, okay? We also talk about the Security and Exchange Commission, right? And on the back, it actually has the definition. But again, I break it down a little bit more simple than what the card says. And it's basically, the way I explain it is SEC is there to help protect investors. So at a very simple level, he doesn't need to know all the details behind it, but at a very simple level, he knows that it's there to protect investors. So we have this one, it's called illiquid and liquid, right? So we talk about very simple, is real estate a liquid or illiquid asset? And that's actually illiquid, which means that it's not very easy to pull cash out of it. So if I say, oh, I want to sell this building, I first have to find a buyer. It could take 2, 3, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, depending on how big the asset is. And then I have to go through the selling process, which could take months as well. So it could take up to a year to sell a big building. And so that's why we consider real estate illiquid. But he also knows what liquid means, right? And liquid investment basically means that it's easy to convert to cash. So stocks and bonds that I talk so negatively about, they are liquid. So it's always good to diversify too, and maybe have a little bit of money in the stocks and bonds, other stuff in real estate and other asset classes, which brings us to this third one, asset classes. So he understands that there's tons of different asset classes to invest in.
Oh my God.
Real estate, commodities, oil and gas. He forgets them sometimes, like if I ask him to repeat it off the cuff, but he understands that there's different things that you can invest in, and that's the important piece. We also talk about this thing called due diligence, right? So due diligence is something that you do when you have an asset under contract. So you have a building under contract and you go in there and you look under the hood. You're looking at the plumbing. You're looking at all the mechanics of the building. And that's basically called due diligence, where you're making sure that you know and understand what the condition of the asset is, because that can affect your business plan of moving forward. Diversification. He loves this one. So we have a very diverse family, Andre. So my husband's Black, our son is mixed. So the name of this podcast came from us being a diversified family. But he also understands that diversifying your investment portfolio is essential. And you know, why? Why is diversification essential? Well, because 1 minute stocks may be up, real estate may be down. Real estate may be up, self-storage may be down. So you're evening out the risk. You're reducing your risk by putting a little bit in different asset classes, investing in different asset classes. So I know I'm briefly just touching on these, but this is kind of what I talk. So this other one is called acquisition, right? So he was like, oh, Mom, I don't understand that. But acquisition is very simple. I explained. You acquire something. We acquire buildings. Acquisition. But getting the terminology in their head is essential. Debt. Our son knows the difference between good debt and bad debt. So let me ask you a question, Andre. Do you know the difference?
I believe no, actually. And it seems to me that your son knows more about investing and maybe, I don't know, financial rules more than me.
No, but that's okay. So good debt versus bad debt. When we buy a building, go to the bank, we get a loan. That's actually called good debt.
Okay.
When I go to the store and I go buy $1,000 pair of boots, and I go to the store and I charge my haircut, and I go to the store and I charge my vacation, and I go to the store and I do all these things, that's bad debt.
Wow, I got it.
So you want to make sure you have a lot of good debt and little to no bad debt. Capital, what's that? Cash. Very simple. That's how I explain it to our son. You know, we don't get into, hey, it really means assets as well. And then a mortgage. He goes, Mom, well, explain this to me. I go, hey, when we bought this house, we had to go to the bank, and the bank gives us a mortgage, which means they're the real owners of this house, not us.
I don't love this word.
So anyways, this is what we do in the Landry household. And this happens to be this week of cards that we review. And just really important to get our son thinking about the alternative stream of income when he's a pilot.
Amazing. Yeah, actually, that's really great. I'm shocked, like how many information like your son, and not just 9 years old, knows about investing, about all of these financial things. And I really love it because I'm in 22. I don't know much more like your son and your family. Yeah, I really love your family, actually. Yeah, it's great to know. And maybe you have to launch some kind of game, or I don't know, like for people like me who don't know anything about real estate investments, and actually maybe who don't know too much about like financial things, you have to push it out like a game for the children, because I love it how you describe it for me. I understood everything, and that's great.
All right, so Andre, there's 2 games you have to get. Monopoly.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So Monopoly is the first one, and they also have another one that we have at home. It's called Cash Flow.
Wow, I didn't hear it.
So your homework is you go out and you buy those 2 games.
Okay.
Read the instructions and start playing the game. We can even play online if you want. But those are 2 games that we actually play at home when, you know, on a Friday night, Saturday night, we have the music going on, and, you know, we're having hors d'oeuvres and tacos or something. We play those 2 games with our son.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Actually, I love it. Absolutely.
Jacqueline and Melvin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of Get Diversified. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes. Finally, stop by our website and follow us on social media. Ciao for now. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, get diversified.